Chapter 1. The friction before the breakthrough. When reality trembles, it's not breaking apart, it's rearranging to match your frequency. There's a moment in every manifestation journey that almost no one talks about. It's the part that makes even the strongest souls question themselves. When you've done all the right things, you've visualized, affirmed, trusted, believed, and yet everything seems to fall apart. You lose something. Something ends. You start feeling anxious, uncertain, disconnected, like your alignment suddenly vanished into thin air. But what if this isn't the moment it's failing? What if this is the moment it's working? You see, when you decide to shift into a higher frequency, when you set an intention that truly changes the course of your timeline, reality doesn't instantly click into perfection. It rearranges itself. And rearrangement feels like friction. Think about it. When the caterpillar begins to transform into a butterfly, the cocoon doesn't feel like peace. It feels like destruction. The structure of what once was begins to dissolve, cell by cell, identity by identity. And in that moment of chaos, a new pattern is forming, something so much greater than the mind can comprehend. The same happens when you manifest. You send out a new signal, a frequency that commands the quantum field to reorganize matter around your new vibration. And in that reorganization, the old must break apart. The familiar must fade. The patterns that once defined you begin to collapse. So, when things start to get harder, when the storm begins to rise, it's not a sign that you failed. It's the field responding. The universe doesn't resist your growth, it's amplifying it. The friction before the breakthrough is simply the sound of old energy leaving your timeline. So breathe, stay present. Because if everything feels unstable right now, it means you're standing on the edge of your next quantum shift. This is not the end of your manifestation, it's the beginning of its unfolding. Chapter 2. The Quantum Storm, when reality rearranges itself. When you raise your vibration, when you choose a new version of yourself, the universe doesn't respond with silence. It responds with movement. And that movement often looks like chaos. Imagine shaking a snow globe. At first, everything you recognize becomes a blur. Glitter, flakes, fragments swirling in all directions. But only after the shaking settles does a new pattern emerge. That's what happens when you shift your energy. You've just shaken your quantum field. Every particle, every probability, every event connected to your old frequency begins to move, to detach, to realign. It's not that your life is falling apart. It's that the timeline is reorganizing itself to match your new vibration. In quantum physics, we call this decoherence, when a wave of infinite possibilities begins to collapse into a new pattern. In spiritual language, it's the universe responding to your frequency. You are not being punished. You are being recalibrated. It's like tuning a radio to a higher frequency. As you turn the dial, there's static, noise, distortion, interference. But that's not failure. That's the sound of the old frequency releasing its hold. So when the job disappears, when the friend drifts away, when the opportunity dissolves just before it materializes, remember, it's not rejection, it's redirection. The quantum field is clearing space for coherence. But here's the secret most people never learn. The greater your shift in energy, the stronger the storm that follows. Because reality resists sudden jumps, not out of cruelty, but out of physics. Every energy system seeks equilibrium. So when you elevate your vibration dramatically, the old structures around you, relationships, beliefs, environments begin to destabilize. That instability is the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. The universe is simply adjusting its geometry to mirror your new signature. And this is the moment that defines every manifester. Will you interpret the storm as failure or as formation? Because beneath the noise, beneath the uncertainty, a new pattern is emerging, one built on your higher frequency. But you can't see it yet. You can only feel it. So instead of running from the chaos, try this. Pause. Observe. Whisper to yourself, this is the field rearranging for me. Because the storm isn't the end of your manifestation. It's the proof that the field has begun to move. Chapter 3. The Resistance Field. Why it feels like it's falling apart. There comes a point, right after the storm begins, when you start to wonder, why does it feel like everything I built is crumbling? You were certain you were on the right path. You were meditating, affirming, staying grateful. And yet, your reality seems to be pulling itself apart at the seams. But what if this tearing isn't destruction, it's detox? Every time you upgrade your vibration, you enter a resistance field. It's like moving through turbulence at the edge of a new atmosphere. You're not falling, you're ascending. But your old identity can't survive where you're going. Your subconscious, the guardian of your comfort zone, starts to panic. It whispers, this is unsafe. Not because you're in danger, but because you're unfamiliar. The ego doesn't care about your dreams. It cares about predictability. And manifestation, real manifestation, is the opposite of predictable. When you shift your frequency, your nervous system, your beliefs, and your energetic field all begin to recalibrate. Your old neural pathways, the loops of fear, doubt, and limitation, start to dissolve. And like an addict losing its drug, your mind clings to what's leaving. This is why the moment right before the quantum leap feels unbearable. It's the ego's last stand. It throws fear at you like static, trying to drag you back to what's familiar. But here's the paradox. That resistance is a sign of success. It means your energy is working. It means you've disrupted the old pattern so deeply that it can no longer sustain itself. Think of a rocket leaving Earth. The shaking, the roaring, the heat, all of it peaks just before it breaks through gravity. That's not failure, that's liberation. So when you feel emotional chaos, the breakdown, the uncertainty, the doubt, remember, you're not being punished, you're being purified. The old frequency is collapsing under the weight of your new vibration. It's okay if you feel like you're losing control. It's okay if you don't recognize yourself. That's how you know the transformation is real. Because the universe doesn't ask, are you ready? It asks, are you willing to let go? And when you finally do, the resistance begins to fade, and the frequency of your new reality starts to take form. Chapter 4. The Quantum Reframe. Observing without collapsing the wave. There's a moment, right after the chaos, where you face a choice. Do you react or do you observe? Because in that choice lies the secret of quantum manifestation. In physics, there's something called the observer effect, the principle that particles behave differently when they're being watched. Observation doesn't just record reality, it creates it. The same is true for you. Your attention, your emotion, your focus are not passive. They are quantum instructions whispered into the field. And every thought you project becomes a lens that collapses infinite possibilities into a single outcome. Most people, when the storm hits, begin to observe through fear. They look at uncertainty and label it as failure, and by doing so, they collapse the wave into lack. But you can choose differently. You can become the neutral observer, the one who stands in the center of the storm, watching reality rearrange itself without labeling it as good or bad. Because neutrality is power. It's the space between reaction and creation. When you observe with peace, not panic, you give the quantum field permission to finish what it started. Think of it like watching clouds shift across a sky. You don't chase them, you don't judge them, you simply witness their transformation. That's what true mastery feels like, when you can hold stillness inside movement, when you trust that unseen forces are working even when nothing visible is. So when things don't make sense, whisper to yourself, I won't collapse this wave with fear. And instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this energy becoming through me? Because once you stop fighting the process, you stop vibrating at resistance, and you start vibrating at creation. This is the quantum reframe. Reality doesn't shift when you force it. It shifts when you observe it through coherence. Don't chase the wave. Let the ocean move through you. Because the moment you stop trying to control the field finally has room to deliver. Chapter 5. The moment of alignment, when the field clicks. And then, almost without warning, everything goes quiet. The chaos fades, the noise stops, the friction softens into stillness, and you realize you've entered the frequency of alignment. It never arrives with fanfare or fireworks. It arrives in whispers, in small, almost invisible confirmations. A message at the perfect time, a sudden moment of peace, a knowing in your gut that everything is exactly where it's meant to be. This is the quantum click, the moment when the field finally locks in, when your inner coherence matches the vibration of the reality you've been calling in. It always feels sudden, but it never is. Alignment is not something that happens to you, it's something that happens through you. Every breakdown, every delay, every doubt you faced was the field stabilizing around your new frequency. You weren't being ignored, you were being attuned. It's like tuning a radio. At first, there's only static, interference between two signals. But as you keep adjusting, even slightly, the sound becomes clearer, until one day it locks perfectly into clarity. That's what this moment feels like. No resistance, no force, just resonance. You start to notice that life feels lighter. Synchronicities multiply. The right people begin to appear. Things that once felt heavy now flow with ease. This is not magic. It's physics, coherence at work. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are no longer contradicting each other. They are speaking the same energetic language. And when your internal signal becomes consistent, the quantum field responds instantly, because it doesn't need convincing, it needs consistency. You no longer hope for the manifestation. You embody it. You walk as if it's already true. And so, reality has no choice but to agree. This is the art of allowing, the sacred moment where control dissolves and trust takes its place. The moment where you understand that creation was never outside of you. It was you all along. And when you feel that click, that invisible alignment, you'll know. Not because something big happened, but because something deep inside finally stopped trying to. That's when the universe exhales with you. And in that exhale, everything aligns. Chapter 6. Integrating the frequency. Living from the new timeline. Once the click happens, once the field aligns, the real work begins. Not the work of striving, but the work of embodying. You see, manifestation isn't just about calling something in. It's about becoming the version of you who already lives there. The quantum field doesn't respond to your wishes, it mirrors your state. And now that you've touched alignment, your task is to stay there long enough for reality to crystallize around it. Think of your new frequency like a newborn flame. It's alive but delicate. It needs presence, not pressure. Consistency, not control. Every morning, you wake in a new timeline. Your neurons are resetting, your emotions recalibrating. If you repeat your old patterns, you collapse back into the familiar past. But if you hold steady, if you choose thoughts, actions, and feelings that match the reality you've already claimed, you reinforce the new signal until it becomes your default state. This is where neuroscience meets mysticism. Each thought you think carves new neural pathways. Each emotion you embody strengthens that circuit. Your biology starts to reorganize itself around belief. The cells listen, the body obeys. the energy field stabilizes. You begin to live as the frequency, not just visualize it. It's subtle at first. The way you walk changes. The way you speak feels softer, more certain. The way you respond to challenges, calmer, grounded, trusting. This is what it means to collapse a timeline. You are no longer vibrating between what is and what could be. You've stepped fully into what already is. And in that state, life mirrors your coherence. Opportunities align naturally. Conversations flow. Even delays feel divine, not punishing, because you trust the rhythm beneath them. Integration is the art of holding the vibration when the world still reflects the old one. It's the mastery of living as if it's done, even when your senses say otherwise. Because the quantum field doesn't respond to your five senses, it responds to your inner sense. So breathe into this moment. Let it imprint into your nervous system. Walk through your day as though you are carrying the future in your body, because you are. The universe doesn't grant your desires when it sees your effort. It unfolds your reality when it feels your embodiment. You're not becoming it anymore. You are it. And from this point on, your life begins to rearrange itself around that truth. Chapter 7. The Closing Frequency, Returning to the Field. There's a moment, after the storm quiets, when you realize it was never about getting what you wanted. It was about becoming who you truly are. Quantum manifestation was never a technique. It was a remembrance, a return, a retuning of your soul to the frequency it always carried, before the noise of doubt, before the rush of time, before you learned to forget your own power. You see, the field was never outside of you. It is you. It's the space between your thoughts, the silence behind your heartbeat, the light flickering in your eyes when you remember that you are infinite awareness playing human for a while. And in that remembering, something softens. The grasping fades. The chasing ends. Because you finally see you were never separate from the outcome. You were the outcome, waiting to be remembered. The resistance, the breakdowns, the nights of doubt, they were not punishment. They were calibration. Every no, every delay, every heartbreak was a divine alignment, training your frequency to match the timeline you prayed for. You were never being denied. You were being prepared. And now you feel it, don't you? That quiet hum in your chest, the one that whispers, you're already home. That's the frequency of surrender, not the kind that gives up, but the kind that gives in, into the rhythm of the cosmos, into the intelligence that spins galaxies and grows flowers and orchestrates your every breath. You don't need to force it anymore. You only need to feel it. Because the moment you align, reality bends effortlessly around you, like water flowing toward its reflection. So, close your eyes for a moment. Feel your energy expand beyond your skin. See yourself as light, a ripple in the infinite ocean of being. Everything you've ever desired is already vibrating within that light. You don't attract it, you remember it. You allow it. You embody it. And as you step forward into this new chapter of your life, carry one truth with you. The universe is not testing you, it's echoing you, always. So, when it gets hard again, when it feels like nothing's moving, remember, that's the tremor before the quantum leap. That's the field rearranging itself to fit your newest signal. Trust it, flow with it, breathe with it. You are the observer. You are the creator. You are the frequency. And the field is simply waiting for your next vibration. Now, take a moment. If this message found you at the perfect time, it's because your frequency called it in. Comment below what you're currently manifesting and let this space become a field of collective coherence, where dreams are not just spoken, but remembered into existence.